What's up, you guys, and welcome to another episode of Sith Happens. My name is Eric the Dadalorian, and I am joined, as always, with my trusty counterpart, my co-host, my Han Solo to me the Chewbacca, Matty Ice.
Hello there. I'm Matty Ice, as Eric calls me. I think of myself more as the slave Leia to his Jabba. But I'm also known as Black Series Daily Desk on Instagram, as well as Eric and I, with a few other guys, running the largest Black Series Facebook group. It is Star Wars: the Black Series Collectors. Check us out.
Yes, absolutely. It's a great group. We're very inclusive. Pretty much a really positive group where we just kind of talk about Black Series action figures, and then kind of spread this podcast as well. So, now Matt, dude, we got a ton of stuff to talk about. We took a little bit of a 2 week break. So in that 2 weeks, we had two hard hitting episodes of the Bad Batch, which isn't really saying much for the season because every fucking episode's been hard hitting, to be honest with you.
Yeah,
It's
they're
been pretty
really
intense.
doing it.
It is
We've
like
had,
this season has been like this is all I think it hits harder than the last season of Clone Wars, because the last season of Clone Wars like had really great episodes throughout it, but so far everything in Bad Batch has just been like bam bam bam, like it
yeah.
was unreal, man. So
Yeah, I
then
don't think any.
it,
Sorry, go on, go on.
no, go brother, you're good.
Yeah, I don't think that anything can top the last four episodes of that season of Clone Wars.
No,
But I
man.
think what this has going for it is those middle four episodes of the last season of Clone Wars, where you're just like, is this like a Pixar thing they're doing? Like, what's the story here?
No.
There's like one or two good moments. I like that they brought those characters back in Bad Batch, but like overall, you're right. And like, it's the stride. I think we've talked about this. You Rebels hit this awesome stride in season two. Clone Wars, you have the 2.5 season stride, and then here it's like such a bummer. It's the third season because I'm like, they got it. They got the memo, right? Like
It
it's like
worked.
okay,
It
yeah.
worked
If you're gonna
compared to
do
like every other season.
yeah, if you're gonna have a side mission, make it drive the plot forward. If you're gonna
Yeah.
bring somebody in, make it matter for more than like oh my god, it's that character. Like it's just every week I'm checking the time at the bottom and I'm like, all right, people double time, I want more out of this. Like when there's a 2 episode week, I just want to cry. I'm like, oh, thank God. Can we just do double episodes every week and make it a 38 episode season? I'm cool with that.
No lie, man. Like honestly, the season's been absolutely nuts. And then on top of that, last week we had the trailer for the Acolyte drop, which I was so fucking excited. Like I just started getting into the High Republic era, reading into the books and stuff. And this does come at the end of the High Republic, so it's not quite where I'm at in the book series and everything. But honestly, man, I can't wait to talk about that. So,
Yeah.
so we're gonna get into all that stuff. I'm pretty excited for that. Now, just a really quick really quick message to our followers before we get too deep into all that. So we want to thank those of you who are joining us today, and we appreciate you listening to us on Spotify, Amazon Music, or YouTube. If you enjoy this program and would like to see more of us, we have started a Ko-Fi, which you can make donations to. We appreciate everything that comes in, and if you do donate, we will give you a shout out on here. Just include your social media page whenever you do the donation. We use this to do giveaways, funding the podcast, and you can find the Ko-Fi on our link tree, which is in our Instagram bio at Sith Happens _ Star Wars podcast. And speaking of which, we do have a great giveaway for today, right, brother?
Oh boy, do we.
So what's on the docket for our first giveaway, man?
So I'll show the giveaway and then I'm going to let you do the rules because I know that you're a
Okay,
rules guy. But
we'll do the
so
rules at the end, but just
yeah,
show
yeah.
everybody the
So,
real
so,
shit they
so
want.
quick drum roll. This is a toy that I waited years for. It was announced, I think, last year at Celebration, but they made us like wait a
Yes.
day as a drop. I think it was fairly hard to get. I think you can still get it. I actually accidentally ordered 4 of it. It's a long story. So, and I'm not an inbox collector. Eric is. So, like, I've customized 3 of them. When we were talking about how do we make this special and do a giveaway, it was like a brainstorm moment. So, what we will be auctioning off is a boxed Old Master Maul. Definitely my favorite Maul costume. I've even customized one to look more like the Rebels version with the little scarfy thing, you know. But I think this
Mm-hmm.
is an excellent figure. If you're an opener, if you're an inbox person, this is a figure for you. And it does a great job of celebrating how awesome this character was and the way that they closed him out. If you haven't seen it, you look in the little corner. He's even got the lightsaber end there where it's got the Inquisitor piece on the top. And just overall, fantastic posability. The face is great, and I know it's got a little bit of that Battlefront action. That's why it's gaming greats.
Mhm.
But yeah, can't recommend this figure enough. And whoever gets it, you are a very lucky fan.
Absolutely. So everybody knows by now that I'm an inbox collector with all my Black Series. But that one, even though it's like the plastic free packaging, I loved it. I thought the photo on the front with Maul was just so shit hot. It looked so cool.
Yeah.
And it was one of the coolest versions of Maul, I think, honestly. So I think the only thing I'm hoping we get from Maul as like another Black Series line personally is going to be the OG Phantom Menace Maul in that mural line, honestly.
Yeah, upgraded. Just a little upgrade to that
Yeah.
figure. It's dated, and I think one of the things that's like funny. I actually have to go find it. When I used to put like on shelf, like the part, like 'cause I only have a couple shelves. It's my bad shelf, baby. But when I used to open them, I would keep some of these spare parts in like a separate bag because they couldn't all fit on the shelf. And like my biggest gripe with that figure is the second head with that like plastic hood thing. Like you can't
Mhm.
turn the head, you can't do anything with it. So like I'm personally like that's a big one on my list. There's a couple figures I think need updates, but that one's great and not a cheap figure to acquire. I got it as a birthday
No.
present like 3 or 4 years after it came out, and the person that gave it to me, I was like, "Thank you for looking at my Amazon wish list and being a dear friend," because I still wouldn't
Dude.
own it.
No lie, I still keep that one on my link tree, hoping somebody's gonna start sending me some shit, bro.
Oh
I
yeah.
got lucky as shit this last week, and I got that IG-88 archive coming in. I've been trying to get that
Oh,
for years.
dude, that's how I got him. I think when I first started collecting, I was just behind on so many characters, and it was like COVID, and everybody was like had a little extra spare change because they weren't like leaving their apartment. So I was pulling the trigger on shit like when Rex was $50,
Yeah,
when that guy was
dude.
like
I
35.
got him right before all that, bro.
Dude, the Rex thing, and then we can get into it. That's so funny. Is on Entertainment Earth like 2 years ago, they must have like thought they found a stash of those Rexes. So like
Oh,
all of
I
a sudden
remember
you
that.
could pre-order it, and I pre-ordered 15 of him. And I was like, explaining to my now wife, then girlfriend, like, no, this is like a $4,000 investment. And then like they
What did you
canceled the
do?
yeah, well, it would have been a credit card. I would have paid off with selling it. I sold them all right away. I kept two for me, and it's like
Fucking
funny
hell, man.
because I've a double of that figure randomly. My friend was getting rid of his collection and just gave it to me, so it's like really funny. But like it's just like ridiculous because could you imagine if like I fit like some fucking case of Rexes? And I was like, and people like you,
Dude,
I
you
just flip them
fixing
your
to
way.
get jumped by a motherfucker, okay?
I know, right? Seriously, I didn't. Anybody who's a gun or is a burglar, I did not get them. So just it got canceled beforehand. The same thing,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah.
All right, man. Well, hey, so let's get into these episodes of Bad Batch, man, because these were two really shit hot episodes. So, just the kind of quick breakdown. But before we get into that, for you as our audience, this is your spoiler alert. So, if you haven't watched episode 8 and episode 9 of the Bad Batch, stop here, go watch it because the episodes are freaking amazing. But
Yeah,
moving forward, everyone
we
who's seen
always
it,
say, yeah, we always say if you are a person who is not as into it, like we want you to listen. We love for everybody to listen. This is a podcast riddled with spoilers throughout the history of Star Wars. Between Eric, myself, and then some new hosts and guests we're having coming on, we pretty much know Star Wars better than American history. So we're going to be hopping in with things from different pieces of canon or legends. So we want you to listen, but then don't get mad if you find out that somebody died and something you haven't gotten up to. So that good spoiler alert, blanket spoiler alert.
yeah, we should honestly, we'll start the show with that from now on. Hey, spoiler, alert, welcome to Sith Happens. So, anyways,
Sorry.
yeah. So anyways, guys, the quick breakdown on these two episodes, just a quick little snippet. So basically, episode 8, titled Bad Territory, the group regroups after the battle at the Boromar Monastery on Teth. It's here that the group starts to piece together what their next steps are with Dr. Hemlock after Omega regarding the M count. Hunter and Wrecker meet with Fennec Shand after being tracked down by Fee, and Crosshair starts to get looked at by AZ, while Fennec brings Hunter and Wrecker on the hunt for a target. We notice her putting their defective abilities to work finally, which we're going to talk about because
Yeah.
I was really
We've been
happy
talking about
about
that
that.
forever. Yeah.
Seriously. And then on top of that, Omega attempts to help Crosshair heal by teaching him to meditate, as she learned from Gunji in the previous season. Fennec agrees to get them their information before making a call to an unknown contact, telling them that she was working with a group of rogue clones and appeared to be plotting something sinister. Now, we're just gonna do both of these episodes in conjunction. So I'm just gonna go ahead and read episode 9 as well.
Yeah, your
So
voice is beautiful. Just keep going.
I
It's like the
appreciate
opening.
that.
It's like the opening of Clone Wars. I won't make you do it again, like I did 2 podcasts
Yeah, I
ago.
can't do
But
you, Lauren. I would love to have that voice, but I can't do that.
danger arrives.
I would love to do that, but my voice might start cracking like I'm a 13-year-old in puberty again.
That doesn't
So
change for that's not just because of that. But go on.
Tiff.
Ah!
All right, so we had episode 9 titled "The Harbinger," and this one was, oh my god, this was good. So the Bad Batch is waiting for contact regarding the M count when they are confronted by none other than Asajj Ventress. Ventress agrees to test Omega for the M count, sending her away on a task shortly later. Then a confrontation breaks out between Ventress and the Bad Batch after they discover her true identity. The fight stops when Omega returns and Asajj reveals that they all were played during the war. Shortly later, Asajj is attempting to train Omega on the water, then they are attacked by a large water creature, and Asajj saves them using her force abilities. She then tells the clones they are not safe where they are, and the Empire will keep hunting them, leaving us open to something dangerous, opening up on the final half end of this season.
I know
So,
it's such a bummer. Like, I'm just like,
dude, so
I
I
was like,
thought
we're
about
halfway there.
I thought about today as we're like getting ready for this shit, right? I'm like, oh man, we just had episode 9, and there's 16 seasons or 16 episodes. I'm like,
Episodes, yeah.
we're more than halfway there. I'm like, I need this. It's got to slow down. It's got to slow
Yeah,
down.
that's my thing. Is like, I'm like, how can this be over when it's revving up like this? Like, they're giving us
I
what we wanted,
know.
and like,
Like,
there's like this little hope it's getting more viewers because people are coming back that are liking it, and they'll be like, JK, JK. But I heard there in the works is another animated series. I think that was like on some. I can't debunk that. It's on one of the 90 things I read. We'll get
I
to my
think I told
debunk
one of
later.
my buddies, what if they do like a reverse of how they did Clone Wars, where we get, instead of getting the movie and then all the seasons, we get all the seasons and then a movie at the end.
Oh, that'd be cool. We're kind of doing that with Mandalorian for you. We're getting two
Yeah,
movies.
actually good example.
I
So
want them to do a series with the OT trio, like an animated miniseries or something. I
that
think the
would be
big
cool.
issue with that is they've covered all the ground between A
Yeah,
New Hope and Empire in the comics, but maybe there were little slivers in there that we didn't know about. Like that's kind of what's fun about
there's.
canon. Like between
I
issues
mean,
25 and 26, there was 3 weeks. I don't know.
I mean, listen, they could do something great out of a Shadows of the Empire. That's my personal opinion.
I would love that. I think that I feel like
I
those
would lose my
characters will
shit for a
come.
Shadows of the Empire. That's still my, like, from when we were younger, still one of my favorite games.
Dash Rendar for life. That's like a figure. It's at the top of my list for gaming greats.
Damn,
And like
yeah.
again, like you and I will get into this. Like we have a real hate for everybody that's like not hate. It is frustrating to us when we hear a lot about another repaint, another repaint. With that said, he's gonna be another repaint. So I feel like, yeah, we've got to keep. You got to keep the hope and just hope that armor on top of it really works and the new gun
Yeah.
belt. But like
Well,
that figure, like it doesn't matter. I'll buy it. Him and Kyle Katarn. Like let's go. Let's have
yeah.
them. You want to go
Dark Horse,
gaming
dude.
greats? They're the gaming greatest. A little Shizor action too
Right.
wouldn't be bad.
Yeah. But anyways, Bad Batch, man. So these 2 episodes hit really hard. I thought episode 8, where they kind of did the hunt with Fennec, it did have that, like, that side quest to the main part of the story feel again. And even with that, it was still pretty great. There was a ton of stuff that happened in there, like their abilities getting put to use.
I think that was the coolest thing because I've been talking about it forever, and it's a weird thing because like I watch with my wife, and she and I have been saying the same thing.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I loved about that, because you and I have constantly been like, why can't Hunter know there's what do we call it, a snow worm? Like
Yeah.
get the Bene Gesserit on that, but no, but like, it's like
Shai Hulud.
yeah, but so like we're like, oh my god, like how does he not know it's coming? And when he mentions like the water disturbing it and things, and you think about the snow or
Mm-hmm.
something being underground, like his original power, if you think about it, was electrical current, right?
Yeah.
So it's very easy for him to detect battle droids. He's still a tracker and has those senses, but the idea that he, that this is how he can do it, and I think those landmines played a part in it as well. Like
Yeah.
him detecting and like them knowing, and then also Wrecker, man. Back to a little more of that strength. One of my biggest bummers is Wrecker was like lifting fallen transports when you
Yeah,
first
he
met him.
lifted a full fucking LAAT in the
Yeah,
last season.
held up a shield with it, and it's like, dude, like where'd that go? So I think these 2 episodes, they brought a lot of that back. And I'm
Yeah,
going
he
to talk about
did.
my favorite moment from episode 9 because it echoes my favorite moment from the first season. But yeah, I just think overall it was really great. The side mission driving to something is really important.
Yeah.
With Fennec, I like Fennec. I think she's a cool character. I like Ming Na Wen's badass. It's one of those characters that I'm like, she's great, but if she showed up in canon at any time, I'm fine. But like, I'm never doing one of those like Leonardo DiCaprio snapping points when she shows up on screen. I'm like, oh, cool, Fennec's here. You
Yeah.
know, like,
Yeah, no,
not the
I know
life of
what
the
you mean.
party for me.
So I think that's kind of the cool thing with her character too, is like, it can show up anywhere, and it like she has a fantastic character. I love her character, and it has that diversity to where she could basically kind of show up anywhere, because she never was like a good character per se, like a good guy or nothing like that.
Yeah,
But she does kind of play both sides of the field and
yeah.
everything. So
Anybody that like thinks like anybody that didn't think she was going to screw them over is out of their mind. Like, I was just
I
like,
I I
did you,
I had
did you,
questioned
did
it.
you, did you?
I questioned it.
I was like, she doesn't turn good. She doesn't stop being a heel until Book of Boba Fett, where he's like, we should be, like, why are we dying for these people that don't
Mm,
care about us? But it was one of those things where, like, I guess, like, I had a sliver of a moment, but then I was like, nah. And, like, a team up is like a misdirect on that
yeah.
because she's in it for herself, right?
No,
And the
no,
team
of
up is
course.
more to show their powers. And listen, man, if you thought that, I'll take it back. Anybody but you that thought about that is out of their mind.
I,
But
I wasn't
but
sure how it was going to go, to be honest with you. Like I think the way that they kind of portrayed it was cool, because I think they alluded to, like, yeah, she can screw them over, she could be good. Like, I think they kind of played that middle ground with it realistically, where like she wasn't bad, she wasn't good, she's just this.
yeah,
So,
and
and
I like
I think it was just really great the way they kind of played it off per se. Like, didn't give it a fully good, fully bad. Like, just like anybody else in the world, we all have good and bad.
yeah, and I like I'm just shifting a little gear because it has to do with her. The writing this season has been laugh out loud good, which is not something they were really able to fully achieve except for sparse moments in Rebels and
Yeah,
Clone Wars. And like even like her like the don't go in the water thing was great in the episode. And when Crosshairs is gonna meditate, the whole thing where Miga's like, "You're not going to like this." No, I'm not gonna do the voice. It's my Vietnam. She's like, "You're not gonna like this," and he's like, "I don't like anything." And like
I
it's
don't
just
like
like
anything.
anything. And he's my favorite. So
I
like
know.
anytime he's funny,
He's
like
really grown on me. Like,
he's they've done such a good job. Like he's the MVP right
his
now.
his arc has been amazing.
Yeah, in Filoni we trust. Like they knew where. I mean, I know Filoni's just exec producing at this point. There's other people involved, but he knew they knew where this character was going,
Yeah,
and every time he was in it last season was an absolute gut punch. And
yeah,
I think that they're paying off that like out of every character on the show, even when you think about Tech's death, spoiler, it's like they gave Tech all this like growth to have him
hmm,
killed off. But I think they've really weirdly, even when he was a bad guy, and it's coming to fruition now, like you're saying, made him the heart of the show in a
yeah,
very weird way, like Omega's supposed to be. But they've turned it into a show about redemption solely. Like Rebels was about like hope, Clone Wars was about like like the endlessness of war and the futility of it.
yeah,
And this has like become like weirdly like a show about redemption, or not weirdly, like that's what they were going for, and
yeah,
like they're paying it off, and like it's a testament to when people are like it's a cartoon. No, these are not cartoons. Any one of these episodes, especially this season, that would be in live action, that would cost roughly $14 million,
oh my
exceed
god,
Game of Thrones an
seriously.
episode. But like that's why they do it like this, and it's epic. And like I almost wish that they would have hit this stride at the beginning of last season
If
because
they
I
hit
think we'd
this
be
in season
getting a
2,
couple. Yeah, we've got so many more. We get more seasons. I think
oh,
honestly,
100%.
and there was always going to be like a weird issue with the show where that Bad Batch is awesome, but I think they're a little harder to reach than the other shows because
Yeah,
Rebels just feels like Star Wars. That's my favorite one of the cartoons. And Clone Wars, you've got Anakin and Obi-Wan. Those are like
yeah,
instant sells. This one I think is the toughest sell. And like I always have liked the show. I'm not knocking the writing. This writing is what would have made it and crossed that line into adult stuff and what could be really good content. This is what could have made it that next show. So like, I love it and no knock on it, but that's kind of what has happened now
no,
with it.
and I
And I'm super pumped for it. at least to
full-heartedly
finish. It's
agree
a
because
bummer that it's not going to, get a fourth season like we keep saying.
yeah, I full-heartedly agree. If they had hit, like you said, like this stride like they did in season 2, because I loved season 2, I still thought it was great, but there were moments where it did feel just a little bit slow, This has just been bing, bam, boom, one after another, and honestly, it's been fantastic. So, but yeah, honestly, man, I thought that episode was totally shit hot, and then when she made that transmission at the end, and it didn't reveal who it was, I was thinking about it for a minute, and I was like, okay, who the hell is she gonna be calling? And then I remembered the trailers, and I was like, it's got to be Ventress.
I didn't make that connection.
No
I wanted
shit.
it to be that connection. Yeah, it was like a weird thing where I was like, maybe it comes up like 3 episodes from now because like I'm like forgetting that they need this trajectory. And then it was funny, like I stay so off like between work and everything. I just use our page like to
Yeah.
moderate, and like we have so many rules about not spoiling on that page. Another great reason to be on our page, everyone, is that for 72 hours after an episode, nobody's allowed to talk about it. But and then for on one of my Instagram pages, it was just like this episode was awesome, and it was like a picture of her, and I was like, I'm still excited. Like I'm ready to go. But yeah, I also love that in this episode, like I don't know if Game Shark was involved, but like Ventress is in God mode. Like everything she does, like it's impossible
I
to.
thought, dude, it was ridiculous because honestly, like the thing about that episode, and I think the thing that caught my eye the most about it is they had that fight scene with her
Yeah,
and Wrecker and Hunter. That was the cleanest fight scene of any animation series they've done to date yet.
yeah, even the mocap in the third to last episode of Clone Wars, like
Yeah,
this was. We were watching it, and I was like, "This fight looks insane," and my wife goes, "It's sharp." Like
like
that was like it. Maybe it was mocapped. I don't even know,
I
but it
think it
was.
had to have been because, like, if you look back at like some of the older Clone Wars types fight, and even with some of the older Bad Batch stuff, it's very like they make the fight motion and it like almost stops there. This was
Yeah,
just clean martial arts type shit, man. Like
yeah,
they like
yeah.
it had to have been that motion capture like they did with the last season of Clone Wars with
Well, yeah,
the Ahsoka and Maul fight.
and I think you can always tell, like they've only done that mocap once, right? But I think the thing is when you think about good CGI and bad CGI, right?
Hmm.
Bad CGI has no weight behind it. All the programs they run on these live action shows, everything has weight behind it. Like,
Yeah,
the Razor Crest getting pulled up out of the water has weight. The water moves, right? Like you can really feel that. This fight had like weight behind it. The
hell yeah.
moves were really clean, but it really felt like you were in it. And those moves were sick. And that actually transitions to my favorite moment of the episode. So you have the whole crosshair thing where she did some real jujitsu shit to him with that armbar, and then kind of does that kick into his bite. She kicks him in the balls. Go back and watch. I rewatched it like when
Yes.
she's done with that fight, and then he kind of disappears, and then all of a sudden you see him throw the guns to them, and he has his like whatever line it was. I watched it right before this, so like I'm a little behind on like getting the dialogue, and you just hear that da 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 da,
Yeah,
and that
I heard
reminds
that.
me. My favorite moment of the show was at the end of season 1 when they see the mirrors in the room when he does the whole thing with like, you guys didn't come back for me, and
Hmm.
they realize Crosshairs is on their side. He does the whole you guys didn't come back for me, and then the droids come in to fight them, and all of a sudden Hunter and him just grab their weapons, and it's like the Bad Batch again, and they just cue da 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 da,
Yeah.
da, and they hadn't done that a lot that season. And to me, it's like I know we're minus Tech and Echo in this
Hmm.
situation, but I feel like Tech should be. Echo sort of me is always like, why do we need 2 tinkerers when Tech was around? But like that was like the cleanest, like the batch is back, baby. Like the
Yeah.
way he threw it to them, the way like, oh god, like that was one of the things that made the episode for me. And then
Absolutely.
her yellow lightsaber, and I didn't know how they were going to do it because Maul had her lightsaber at the end of Clone Wars as part of his double. You
Hmm.
and I were talking about this before. Using her Sith lightsaber and making it yellow, which I have questions about why it's not white. She had to have bled that crystal. Neither here nor there. But when that thing came out, I jumped off my couch. My wife laughs at me that some of these shows I watch standing up like a child.
I definitely got a little wild with that one, man, because like I thought the same thing about the crystal too, because I was like, it's like, all right, if this is the same crystal, it would have had to been bled, and then like
Yeah.
it's kind of weird like that. But at the same time, I'm thinking, okay, with where she's at right now too, like this is supposed to take place before her Dark Disciple, which I know you haven't gotten big into the books, but that's
Is
where.
it before or after? I think it's after because she said that
Well,
she's
yeah,
many
Dark
lives.
Disciple is after, but like supposedly
No, I
her
thought
and
Dr. Simon was before. We may need to debunk that because Dooku kills her in that.
that's what it's after this
Oh,
Dark Disciple.
this is after Dark Disciple.
I or Maybe it's not.
Because the Clone,
I
yeah, because
heard
the
it.
Clone Wars are over. Dooku, I read the book. Dooku kills her in Dark Disciple. Because you're still in the Clone War.
Okay, I
So
haven't read it
this
yet.
is
It was just hearsay. Maybe I misunderstood it then.
spoiler for
Yeah.
Eric. But no, but so she dies and they leave her on Dothamir, which is I think why they're bringing her back.
Okay.
And like she dies in her last moment, she's like full Jedi. Like she kind of goes back to the Order in that book beforehand.
Mm-hmm.
She dies and she's full Jedi, and then she gets brought to Dothamir and buried. And the line
Oh,
they were
okay.
when she was in the trailer and everybody's like, "This is bullshit. It's a retcon." One of the producers was like, "No, no, we're going to make this work throughout some of the animated series." And the last thing she said when they were like, "What if they come for you?" and she was like, "I've got more lives left," or something.
Yeah.
So who knows what kind of black Night Sister, green Night Sister magic is behind that.
Yeah. No doubt, man. Yeah, man. Honestly, I thought it was excellent though. The fight scene was clean. It was amazing CGI if that's what it was, or mocap. And honestly, with it, like they really they didn't find much out what the M count means and everything. Like Asajj kind of explained it, but when it got towards it, and she's like, "Yeah, no, you're not sensitive," and then she talks to Hunter and Wrecker afterwards, and she's like, if they're coming after her, you guys are screwed because
Yeah,
you're not going to stop them.
and we all know it doesn't end well. I
No.
mean, that's like a thing we've always talked about. It's not going to end well. And I think that the M count thing, by the way, I heard a crazy theory that I think is utter horseshit, but I just wanted to tell you it so you could hear it come out of my mouth.
All right, let's hear it.
Somebody had a theory, not my theory. Don't need to debunk it. Not my theory.
Okay.
Somebody had a theory that Omega is Rey's mother. Because you know how her father is a defective clone that couldn't hold M count? I don't know how that works. I feel like that shouldn't work. It was just a funny thing because it was like one of the casts, I forget who it was, and I wouldn't say the name anyway, where the guy's like, I've been holding on to this for 2 years. And I'm like, you're Morocking this shit. Like everybody thought Morocco was going to be a big deal. Like I think Clone X might be the same situation where we're fan canoning stuff and like it's like just let it happen because I think you would be kind of bummed. If anything, it's going to be tech, and I'll throw my hat on the floor because that death was too important.
Dude, I'll
But
be so mad. I don't even want to think about that. Like I'm just gonna let it happen. I don't think they will, but if they did, I'd be
the writing's
pissed.
been too good. And what are they going to do? Bring him back, and then they have a last battle with everybody, and he dies again? Because you know they're going to do what they always do. Last 2 or 3 episodes, everybody's coming back. Rex will be in it, Hauser will be in it. You might get a little bit more somewhere in between of like Ventress coming back or a nod to her. Maybe they all die and Ventress takes Omega off. They'll go to that weird planet Cal Kestis is on or whatever.
I don't know where this is gonna go. Realistically, like I don't. Like normally I kind of get some vibes as far as like where it can lean to and stuff like that. Yeah. I have no idea where this is going.
I know it's gonna end in tears, and I don't
know.
I
think that's the only thing we truly can rely on.
Yeah, and it's going to be the whole, however many they do to like bridge the story. Like season 1, it was 3. It was like the War Mantle and the Mountain or whatever it was called, the Summit, I think, or something like that.
Yeah,
that like you sat through those 3 episodes, and it was like, oh man, week over week on that was like, but like waiting. But I think like with that, even your heart was in your throat, and I think that as we're getting further in. Even in these episodes, my heart's a little bit in my throat because I'm a little bit like, this could go any way. There's not another season. So like these characters, when they're in danger, like we know that there's an arc for Crosshair. He won't die till the end. They can't do that. Or like towards the end for like a big motivational moment. But I think that as they are carrying on with every episode, I'm a little like, whoosh. And Echo's got to probably kick it because he's not there when they like Wolf, Gregor, and Rex are on that planet in Rebels. Yeah, so like if Echo makes it out, like if I'm a betting man and he dies, I'm gonna lose a lot of money.
Yeah, I think we're.
If he doesn't die, if he doesn't die,
I think we can. I think Echo is like a guaranteed, and it sucks because he's one of my top favorites. Honestly,
I love
him and Fives have always been in my top favorites as far as characters.
Fives. Let's not even get into that. I have to go to bed soon. I don't want to be up all night angry.
He's my favorite, so let's.
I know
not
you
even
mentioned it. That's that is hands down in my top 3 arcs in Clone Wars.
100%,
hands down. So. Yeah.
But yeah, man. Overall, I thought this episode was absolutely shit hot, and the last 2 episodes were amazing. So.
Yeah.
But anyways, man, we had some
other
ratings.
ratings.
Ratings. So, episode 8. I'm gonna give it a 7. I thought it was good.
That's same 7. It was good. It moved the plot forward, which is what we wanted. But yeah, it's closest to a monster of the week we've gotten this
Yeah,
season.
no, and that's absolutely true. It was it was pretty good. Nothing too crazy, but I enjoyed it. Really good episode overall.
There's a chance we retcon that rating because if for some reason that meditation comes in for a big moment with Crosshair where he's got to like make a shot, all of a sudden you're like, ah, shit, I was wrong. And I believe that may happen. I believe that may happen. But all right, moving on to episode 9. Ray,
we'll see. Episode 9. So this one, I'm big on nostalgia, and Asajj coming back really kind of did it for me. I'm not going to go 10, but for me it was a very solid 9.5, and I don't like to give that perfect score because I think there can always be something that puts it over that edge, but that fight scene alone would have put it at a 9 for me, and then everything else in there is just extra. Like that was probably one of the top episodes we've had so far.
This is the first episode. The reason why it gets a 10, this is the first episode that gave me pure chills multiple times. Like, even, and I didn't mention it earlier, you think about Crosshair letting Omega onto the ship and then putting his hand out for Asajj after they were all against her, and that relates directly back to Omega saying to Crosshair, I came back for you. I have faith in you. That gave me the chills. Like, so like to me, it's a 10 because it's the first episode this season where I can truly say, I've loved every one of them. I've had like, holy shit, that's great moments. But this is the first one. This is the first one where I was like, woo, I'm emotional, nostalgia factor, all those moments. Like, I think this might be my first 10. I might have given episode 3 a 10.
I think you gave 110 before for episode 3 when it came out, but I'm not positive. So, but yeah, it's up there, man.
You can debunk that next week.
I'll have to start my own debunk. So, but yeah, man, it was great. Loved it. I can't wait to see what happens in the next few weeks. Honestly.
Yeah, me either. I think we got to shift gears though to the big announcement from last week.
Oh yeah, and this is a little bit of a contested topic right now, but I'm excited. So anybody else can kiss my ass.
Yeah, seriously.
So for those of you who
toxic motherfuckers,
yeah, dead ass man. So for those of you who aren't aware, the Acolyte, which has been the long anticipated new series for Star Wars, staged at the end of the High Republic, 132 years before the Battle of Yavin. They just released a trailer last week, and I personally cannot freaking wait. What are your thoughts on it, Matt?
I can't wait. It's Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon, meets Star Wars in the old age. Like my household, we love Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
Yeah,
I'm a kung fu movie guy. There's certain things like that that are like Oscars that my wife and everybody loves. But for me, I'm not a High Republic guy. I'm not as big of a book reader unless it's something I really like. I'm a comic book Star Wars reader.
Gotcha.
And I've always felt like it's hard for me to go in and out of the comics because they happen in different time periods. They end and they restart them. So like for me, like I love Skier. Like I know who he is. Like, I know who Stellan Gios is from Tangential. And then what is it, Kel Trevis or whoever she is? Like she's Skier's Padawan, partner. But I'm pumped. Like I got chills in the trailer. I had one gripe about the whole trailer.
Okay,
is that like my favorite thing about the High Republic is like the lightsabers are ridiculous, like adorned in all the comics, adorned in gold. It has a crossguard, but it's got little lasers right here and right here. When you go into like Stellan, like I know somebody's got a light whip.
I was going to bring that up. I was going to be like, if you're big into that, then you're really going to like that.
but like I know all that, and it was like I was watching the trailer like. Got a cool lightsaber, and then when the toys got announced, which I think we're going to get into also, like I only pre-ordered a couple of them because like I'm trying to cut down on pre-orders, but I know I'm going to buy everything aftermarket. When the toys came out, I was like zooming in. I know you do that too. Zooming in on the pictures, like
I got a good feeling we're going to get some good actual Black Series lightsabers out of this one. So I would say save some for that because I think that's going to be some good ones coming in.
I don't own a lightsaber. I got one helmet. I'm a figure guy, but like. That could push me over the edge, like they get
addictive. Because I got a few of them. They're like they're not the Black Series ones, but they're like the Proffies and stuff. So and it can get dangerous. So
when they get it, if they ever get me a Black Series Maul from the end of the Clone Wars, and I fight with Ahsoka lightsaber, that's half his lightsaber, half bringing it back. Asajj Ventress's Jedi lightsaber. Then, how did he get that? It doesn't describe a disciple. That's a whole other one we don't have shows to talk about situation.
Yeah.
If that ever comes out. Done. Here's my $140.
Yes, it's still
Here, I want to.
better
Yeah,
than the profits, dude. My profit runs almost $500. So,
yeah. I mean,
um,
I ordered that 4-pack today on the pre-order, so when that comes out, I'm eating ketchup sandwiches for a week.
no
But
lie. So, but honestly, man. So the trailer with the Acolyte, though, I thought the vibe behind it was really cool because it opens into this period in the High Republic that it is a very peaceful time, and you kind of get that vibe where it's there's not like a ton of strife happening.
yeah,
And then it starts getting into some of the crazy shit in there, right? So you
yeah.
see the assassin, which I'm gonna say it straight up the front. That's not the Acolyte. Anyone who
No,
says that that's the Acolyte,
no,
I
no, no, no,
respect
no,
your
no. Yeah,
opinion, but I think you're wrong.
I
So,
think the Acolyte is going to be that Sith guy. To be totally honest, or Sith gal. That's it. That's it. They them
whoever was
will be
holding that
the.
red saber at the end of the trailer, that is the Acolyte. So
But that might be a character we haven't seen yet, and you
no,
find out.
and that's
I think you're going to get that
so
moment in the first 2 episodes. I think
so
they're not
I
going to make you wait for that.
100%. So, and a big thing and a big clue behind that for those of you who do not follow Black Series and Hasbro releasing these, Hasbro announced a ton of Black Series figures coming out for the show,
Right.
and they announced them. I think it's 2, 3, the ones in the series 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. They did not announce one, and in fact, on the second box, because there's like a big mural that goes along when you put them all next to each other, they had to change the mural on the box because it kind of was giving away hints of who number one could be. So I think it's going to get revealed early on because in all the Black Series stuff we always see, it's like the number one is kind of a big one. But anyway, so yeah, I definitely think the number one in that series is going to be whoever the Acolyte is. And I know one of the things that a lot of people have been kind of trashing on so far with the series, we're going to get into like some of that toxicity behind it. Is like in Phantom Menace, Mundi says, "Oh, well, the Sith have been extinct for millennia." So there's two things I think that either happen. Whoever the Acolyte is, annihilates whoever finds out about him, and they don't the existence stays
Ends in
hidden,
tears.
or the Jedi Order knows about who this is and they bury that shit because they do not want that. They're like a bad political body, man. Because like even when Attack of the Clones was going on, you heard them saying, "Oh, our ability to use the Force is diminished," and they don't want the Senate to know that.
Yeah, and that's because of the Sith temple below the Jedi temple that they cleansed. Which, what arrogance, by the way, that totally plays into the bureaucracy. The Ki-Adi-Mundi thing, I've talked about this, I think, on our live stream. I don't know if I've talked about this on here. There is an episode of Clone Wars where Ki-Adi-Mundi flat out says to the council, what if there's another Sith and it's not just Darth Tyrannus? And they're all like, nah, okay, cool, MAGA, throw another conspiracy theory out. And like, I'm just like, that guy just cracked the case. He's got 3 brains. Let him fucking fight.
He might know something. So yeah, and I think that's kind of like where it's going to go with that because I know it's one of the things people have been kind of hitting on. I'm really excited to see kind of like what like what the character development is, especially like Carrie Ann Moss. I love her; she's an amazing
Yeah,
actress.
it's
And
one of the ones I pre-ordered.
oh
I
yeah,
had to
and
do it.
honestly, like
I ordered her and what's his name, the guy who's the lead, the master.
Jedi Master Soul.
Yeah, those are
Yeah.
the 2 I
So, and those
pre-ordered
are
just in
two act.
case.
These are
Yeah,
an actress and an actor. I'm very excited to see in the show.
yeah,
Um, Carrie Ann Moss. I mean, most of you have seen The Matrix. That's where you'll guarantee you'll have seen her from there. She's fantastic in these fight and action movies. So I think it's going to be really
yeah,
cool sequences of action in addition to this really great storyline that we don't
yeah,
know yet, but we're going to get that here soon. I think
for sure.
so. But I
All
think
right, let's get into the tough topic.
yeah, so this is the one, and honestly, you might see me get a little pissed off at this. So everybody watching, I'm sorry in advance. But yeah, so there has been a ton of toxicity coming out around this. A lot of, and there has been some projects Disney's done since taking over Star Wars that we can admit it was in our favor or anything like that.
Yeah,
We as and I said this on my own personal page at the Dadalorian. We as a fan base need to be better because I'm super excited for this, and
yeah,
I have been catching hell from other creators and people on Instagram and everything else because I'm excited for this show, and I'm like, you don't even know what it's about. I don't know what it's about, and they're just like, well, it's Disney Star Wars. No shit, Sherlock. Disney
yeah,
owns fucking Star
yeah.
Wars.
Just ride with it. Get over it. Like, and like, I just it makes people who are excited about it, like what you're saying, scared to be excited about it. And these
Yeah.
shows do millions of views.
And
All the things that come out and say it, like they're not going away.
no, it's
So
not.
get on board or don't get on board, but don't let this be the thing that drives every conversation you have.
No, exactly. And honestly, like the thing that irritates me most is like Star Wars has always been one of the most toxic fan bases there has been.
Oh yeah.
Because this existed all the way back when the prequels came out, when I was a kid, where people shit all over it saying,
Yeah.
oh, it's trash, these characters this, these characters that. And this is like shit like this is the reason why some of those actors and stuff were going through the shit they were. Like,
Yeah.
Jake Lloyd, the reason he turned out the way he did, Ahmed Best with, his struggles with depression and stuff like that. Hayden Christensen, Hayden Christensen and Ahmed Best finally got their kind of redemption over the
Yeah.
last couple of years, and Jake Lloyd himself is doing better, and I where he's been receiving
Yeah.
treatment, and
It's like heartwarming.
I know,
Yeah.
and I'm really
He
holding
didn't
out for
deserve
him.
that.
He
Yeah.
he did not, man, and I'm holding out for him 100%. But
Yeah.
these actors and these people who played the characters the way that they were told to portray them didn't deserve it. And the fans who love this series and these movies don't deserve that type of treatment.
Absolutely not. Yeah. And I have like two things about that. I think, first of all, sequels, say what you want about them. I think there's some good, there's some bad. But ultimately, when it comes to the sequels, people hated the prequels. And then all those people grew up that love the prequels, and now everybody loves the prequels. Same thing's going to happen with the sequels. It's like it's like what Maz Kanata says. I've seen those eyes, multiple people. It's just those eyes, right? And it's
No.
those people that love Star Wars that they're a fucking 6-year-old kid right now, and they're watching the sequels, and they love it. And that's important. Star Wars is for everyone.
No.
And I think that overall, when people are mad and this drives their lives, they need to take a step back. Everybody has their own version of Star Wars they love, right?
Absolutely.
This is a children's fable about space wizards with laser swords. The world itself, what you deal with at work, what you deal with in your family, what you look at on the news, sucks sometimes. The point is, this is meant to bring you joy. I understand that shitting on things sometimes brings people joy. But overall, if that toxicity, even if it's just you don't like something and you can't let it go, that toxicity, if it's racism, if it's hate, if it's just I don't like this and constantly like coming back to it, it's not for you anymore. And that's fine.
No.
Read the Legends content. But there's plenty of other pieces of IP that you probably enjoy. And like honestly, people that are X-Men fans are dealing with this right now with X-Men 97, where they're like they made it very like there's like it made it very gay, right? And I mean that not like in a pejorative to them it is, but it's like, have you ever watched the X-Men? Gambit's in spandex with a pink shirt and wore crop tops while cooking gumbo in a kitchen. You're just remembering it how you did when you were 5. And it's like even Book of Boba Fett and what they're doing with him right now, he had a different canon in Legends. I get that, sure, Boba Fett.
Yeah.
Boba Fett had 3 lines in a movie, and everything that you love about him before that, and that canon did not come out for a long time.
No.
Legends after. Everything you love about him, you made up in your bedroom with an action figure, just like kids are doing now.
No, 100%.
Let it go. That's really it for me.
No.
Let it go. You don't like it, turn it off. Don't watch this season. Vote with your views.
No,
vote with your money when it comes to toys.
That's exactly it, man. If it's not for you, then cool. Like don't watch it. You don't need to really spoil it for everybody else, make it shit and everything, because folks like myself are super excited about it. I don't need to deal with your shit with it.
Yeah, and I'm open to a constructive conversation. If
No, and
doesn't
that's
like
just
it.
it.
I'm not
like,
saying you have to like it. I'm not saying, but I'm saying
I'm
it's
not even
never
saying
a
I'm gonna
constructive
like it. I don't know.
Exactly. No, exactly. And there's stuff I don't like that's come out, and I've been pretty like the Resistance, probably the worst show I've ever seen. I couldn't get through it, right? But if somebody likes Resistance and they want to have a conversation about why I didn't like it, I'm not shoving my opinion. If you want to have a civil conversation about it, I love debating it.
Mhm.
It has never been a civil conversation in my entire life, and that goes back to Legends. It's. And Legends, by the way, is bonkers. If people really think this is any different, go back and read Legends. Like the timelines are all mixed up. There's like crazy ass stories. Like Legends by comic writer, the characters are different people.
Yeah.
Like the way that they interact. So there's what do they call them? Graduation glasses to that.
Mhm.
That I think that if you really took a step back and wasn't like, this is mine, you would be like, okay, that was pretty weird too.
Yeah.
So yeah.
But honestly, to wrap up all this talk with the Acolyte, though, I think the biggest thing is just like, if this ain't for you, it ain't for you, and that's cool. Do your thing. I will say this much: I very much encourage everybody to make their own opinion. Watch the trailer, watch the series, see if you like it. If you don't, great. If you do, awesome.
It's okay to like it.
Yeah,
It's okay to
absolutely.
like it.
So,
I know it's Disney. It's okay to or be intrigued. It's okay to be intrigued.
Yeah, and I'm
Be
gonna
impregnated with wonder.
yeah, and I'm gonna
Like,
support. I'm gonna support this because I think it's gonna be good, and I'm excited to see where
100%.
it goes. So, to you as our viewers, as you guys are watching or listening to this, I encourage you to get on Instagram and go follow them at Official Acolyte on Instagram, or use the hashtag The Acolyte and kind of prepare for this great new series, or what I hope is this great new series in the Star Wars universe. So,
Yep.
now
I got a debunk.
hold on. We got one more thing before the debunk. We'll end with the debunk. Because we got the giveaway rules. So this is the stuff you guys have been waiting for. So now, guys, so this is pretty easy. You know, there's nothing you guys really need to. There's no entry fee. There's nothing like this. This is just a giveaway for you guys as the fan base for us that we're gonna kind of give back to you. So the rules for this giveaway are extremely simple. You must follow our Sith Happens podcast page on Instagram and YouTube, and you can find both of those links in our link tree. So you will comment on this video on YouTube with your favorite Star Wars character, because we actually like to learn a little bit about you. And then finally, share our giveaway post on Instagram to your story and tag us. So we are going to make a separate post on our Instagram showing the action figure that we're giving away and everything like that. So just share that and make sure you tag our page in there, because we're going to be keeping track of this. So next week, on our next show, we are going to announce the winner after we do a little, spin the wheel thing or whatever the hell we decide to do at that point. So, and whenever we do that, we're going to message the winner, and we're actually going to announce it on our podcast. So,
yeah.
But now the fun stuff, Matt. What do you got for debunks?
So last go around, I told you that Wolf didn't surprise me because he was in the trailer. Last week, before we had technical difficulties, I looked. Final Bad Batch trailer, 1 minute and 21 seconds. You see Wolf. I actually thought it was Cody the first time I saw him.
That might be what I thought. I think
because it's the gray, and then I saw the comma, and I was like, "It's Wolf."
That might have been what it was, because like I had I think I'd only watched the last trailer one time, and I was thinking to myself when we were talking about it, like I don't remember seeing that motherfucker.
I'm just saying, man. I'm now I think 3 for 3 or 2 for 2 on debunks.
Yeah, you're doing
guys.
pretty,
That's just because I talk out of my ass, and that's it, man. For my next debunk, we had a whole conversation. I am like 100% sure that Dark Disciple comes before the Bad Batch, because I've seen so many things about it. So don't look it up. Nobody look it up. If you're one of our tens of followers, don't look it up. I'm going to debunk it next week.
I'm gonna need to know too, because like that's actually a book I've heard nothing but amazing things about. So I do want to read that too.
I'm illiterate. I need pictures, and like I love that book. And you get a lot of Quinlan Voss in it too. I may reread it now that we're talking about it. But yeah, that's my debunk next week.
All right, good stuff, man. So, but that kind of wraps up our show for today, man. So, to you guys as our viewers and our listeners, I want to thank you again for joining us today. You guys can follow us on Instagram at Sith Happens _ Star Wars Podcast, on YouTube and Spotify at Sith Happens - Star Wars Podcast. You can find all those in our link tree on our Instagram page. So, Matty Ice, why don't you just go ahead and give us a quick sign off, brother?
All right, man. Well, I'm going to give a big Han Solo Yahoo. Tell everybody, may the Force be with you always.
And I'm the Dadalorian. This is the way.
I'm going to